All right, so March Madness 2025, one of the favorite times of year. So in this segment, we're going to go through a couple things. So we'll talk about the first round, give a little bit of insight to our Final Four, and then before we do that, though, I want to talk a little bit about the bracket selection and what's been happening in the world of media. Not as much like discern over the bracket selections, but North Carolina was a big one. So have you guys seen that? I mean, have you heard a
That's
lot of
all I
talking
heard
points?
about was
Right,
North
that's what I mean.
Carolina.
It
I
seems like
saw
the
the
only one out there, right?
I saw West Virginia's governor talk about it. He said there should be an investigation because the dude got paid $100,000.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I
and then
think the
was
technically he can't do anything, but the head of the committee is from UN is UNC's president, isn't it?
something like that. What's ridiculous is I heard that yesterday, right? And it was on First Take. And
Right.
today, someone brought that up on First Take, and Stephen A. is like, "What?" I go, "He said that yesterday." He's like, "Because they were racking on the governor," and I was like, "Yeah, he's kind of an idiot, but he does have a point here."
Well,
It,
a lot of analysts, and when you watch like the selection shows and from any channel, any website you go to, most analysts were saying they don't like UNC being in the tournament. And a lot of that was like they took like their schedule and who they played versus like who they lost to. So they went like 1-12 against
quad five, quad
quad
four.
five, right?
Yeah, well, they went 1-12, and then West Virginia was like they were 6-1, I think, but they were 19-13. They were 10-10 in their conference. They
Right.
lost in the first round to the worst team,
In their
Colorado.
tournament. Right.
Yeah, it's like this is not like a Cinderella story here. I
Well,
mean, they weren't very good.
look, in North Carolina, if you watched in the ACC tournament, what
Yeah,
went to the final seconds with Duke
yeah, and they almost came back and won the game. Um,
outside of a lane
well,
violation that they may have won that game.
yeah,
But did Cooper Flag play?
no, he did not.
No, but I mean, still though, it's not. You're talking about making the tournament, not winning the tournament.
Yeah, it's like getting hot late. It's like who's hot and who's
Right.
not. It's like when a team loses in the first round to the worst team, that's like saying they're not really hot right now.
Well, and did they make a statement in their playing game? I mean,
Oh
I
yeah,
think they did.
they did, but that was predictable. I was like they're gonna probably beat them handily because they have talent. It's
Right.
not like they don't have talent here. They just didn't play well. I mean,
Well, two
the thing
two
is
things
they
to
got
that
blown
though.
out in games. They got blown and during the season. North Carolina did.
Right.
I mean, they were getting blown out in these games.
I think they had a better second half than they did the first half. But first of all, San Diego State's no slouch. It's not like they're a bad team. And for Carolina to come out like, yeah, you lost a heartbreaker against Duke in the semifinals ACC tournament. You get to the play-in, and then you come in and you're just like, look, this is why we deserve to be here. I think you're almost fueling their fire by saying you don't belong there.
Yeah. Well, and they still got RJ Davis. They got some young pieces around them. They got talent. It's just what their next game. I haven't look at this bracket, but I mean, they can make a run.
I don't think they'll make a run. I just think that to say they don't deserve to be there is a stretch. There's arguments on both sides, but for that to be the biggest topic around the selection, I was like, come on, man, you're questioning UNC
Yeah.
in the tournament,
Well, they're just basically questioning its brand name. It's not what they if you put a blind taste test of these two teams and not knowing which one, you're not taking UNC. But once you put the brand name to it, you are taking UNC.
yeah. Which there's tons of teams over time that it's always been that case, though, right?
Mhm. Yeah, every year they have to give somebody the
Right. I would rather, and this is not just because I'm a UNC fan, I'd rather see a UNC team at what, like 20-13 over a 10-10 conference West Virginia.
Yeah. Especially when it's not that, I mean, it's Big 12, right? It's
Yeah.
not the SEC this year.
Yeah, the SEC is crazy. So that was really the only like pre-bracket, kind of TMZ, if you'll say, of the NCAA tournament. But let's get into first. So we're not going to have time to go through the whole first round. But what I do want to do is I want to focus on for our listeners the HSC podcast upsets, first round upsets. And let's go through a few of those for our listeners and say, hey, here's where we think that, you might be able to enhance your bracket by picking this upset. I'm just going to throw one out there. It's not a big upset, but I'll just start with I like Creighton in the South. It's an 8-9, so it's really not that big of an upset. But the way Creighton is playing right now, they have a lot of momentum, and so it's hard to bet against Louisville in that situation. But I'm going to take Creighton there in that 8-9.
Yeah, I got that too.
I got Xavier after what I saw against Texas. I thought, they it looked like Texas was going to win easily. Came back, hit threes. We got inside. I think that's Illinois might have a problem.
Oh,
11-6.
So you got Xavier now beating number 6 Illinois.
And I got one more. I got High Point, dude. Any school named High Point has a chance. I don't know where a High Point comes from. Dude, Purdue, watch out. High Point.
Against Purdue?
Purdue's not as good as they were last year. Come on.
No, you're right.
And there's I don't think it's like years past where it's like, oh yeah, this is a total 11. The 11's we're gonna have 3 11s win. I would watch out a little bit for Akron in Arizona. Akron is pretty good. They won their championship game on the last second. They got talent.
But are they going to beat Arizona?
Well, I picked it in like 3 brackets.
Wes is Mr. 20 brackets.
Yeah, we can't have 20 bracket answer here, Wes. What we need is Akron going to beat Arizona?
Yes, they're going to beat them.
So you're going to commit to that?
Yeah, I'll commit to that. I'm not going to. I want to commit to Liberty beating Oregon, but I just can't. I can't.
I'm just all about the underdogs.
I commit to Liberty beating Oregon.
Okay. Really?
I've got Liberty beating Oregon.
Wow. Okay.
Well, I mean,
and then I do not have that happening, and I do not have Akron beating Arizona. I actually have Arizona and Oregon playing next round.
Well, Arizona's got Caleb Love, so of course Steve's going to be for Arizona. My one is Drake beating Missouri.
I got that too. I got Drake. I do got North Carolina beating Ole Miss. They're 11-6.
Yeah, I
have that as well. Let's go back to this Drake Missouri though. So you guys both have Drake?
Yeah.
So you got 11 Drake being 6 Missouri. Is this, and I hate to say this, is this like the old bracket 11 can beat a 6,
Well, think about some of the teams like Drake and
because it happens a lot, and so people tend to throw that into their bracket a lot, like a 5 and a 12 and a 7 and a 10 and a 6 and 11.
But think about some of these 11s and like BYU, VCU. I mean, that's not BYU's. I would say is probably going to win that game, but still, a lot of these 11s they're conference champions from the better, crappier conferences,
right?
So smaller conferences.
But
so they're the better teams of the lower level conferences going up against a mid-tier made the conference tournament, did okay, during the season. That's kind of that's why it seems like they win a lot.
So Drake, Missouri though, like Missouri, you got to think about like how tough of competition has Missouri played all year. Is there anything that they played that compares to a Drake? Yeah, maybe the bottom couple of the SEC.
Yeah.
But Drake or Missouri's been playing top tier teams all year. They still came in the 6th seed.
Right. Well, think about it though. You have so many SEC teams. Do you really think they're all going to be good? Because think about it, in years past, remember when the Big Ten would have all these teams and we were like, oh, the Big Ten's going to be great. And then like
Right.
one or two make it past the first week.
Big Ten are chokers though, but I get your point.
And then the seeding, the Oregon thing, I still don't understand. Oregon's a 5 seed, but Creighton's a 9 seed. I mean, that's just odd to me.
Well, I mean, that's what
I mean, come on here. What are we
Derek was
talking?
just talking about it though, which is it's the conference you're coming from
What?
gives you that stigma or that ability to be ranked higher because you're playing better competition.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, Big Ten's better than the Big East to a certain extent, but are they really that much better? I mean,
Top to bottom,
well, top to bottom, they're better. But what
right?
I'm saying is overall, we're talking about the top tier teams here. I mean, UConn's won 2 national championships in a row. Um,
St. John's.
Marquette. I mean,
Here, I got one for you guys. Colorado State beating Memphis.
Yeah, I got that one too.
I thought about it.
Memphis hasn't looked great lately. Their offense has looked not stable, up and down, not the ability to score regularly, or have a couple go-to guys. Where Colorado State does have a couple go-to guys, and as long as those guys shoot a high percentage, they're in the game. So that's one I think might hit is Colorado State against Memphis.
Oh,
I also have UNC beating Ole Miss,
Yeah.
Wes.
I think we all three do.
Oh, everybody does?
Yeah. I got UNC going to the Elite Eight.
Wow.
I mean, maybe they play Iowa State. They could beat Iowa State. Or is that right? Yeah, Iowa State.
Yeah.
Michigan State Marquette. I mean,
Well, I got one for you guys because I think this is one of the most interesting first round games is the St. Mary's Vanderbilt.
Yeah, I got Vandy winning that one.
What do you think on that, Wes?
and my main brackets I have St. Mary's.
Well, I got Vandy as well. That this is one of those like how well does St. Mary's match up against Vanderbilt? If St. Mary's is a monster, are they ranked 7? No, they're just there because they either won their conference or
Well, they
played
Lost
an
to
easy
Gonzaga.
schedule.
They lost the conference.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like
they won the
there's two
regulars.
reasons either you had a good season, lost, but still had a good record, or you won your division tournament, right? That's the only way St. Mary's gets into a 7.
Mhm.
Where Vanderbilt gets in a 10 because they got their butt kicked all year against really good competition.
Right. I mean, yeah. So Vandy has beaten Tennessee and Kentucky and Texas A&M, but have also lost to Tennessee and Kentucky, and then they lost Auburn, Florida, Alabama. So it's not like they're top tier SEC, but they can hold their own.
Right, against real solid competition.
Yeah.
So what's your biggest upset? So if you're going to name your number one biggest first round upset, what are you guys going to give to the listeners?
Bryant.
I mean, I
Do you
thought
really
about it.
have Bryant?
I watched him play.
No, I'm saying one you actually have.
I almost had Bryant, but then I realized uh what's his name is not there anymore. He graduated last year. Doug Edert. Remember him
Yeah. Yeah.
from
No.
St. Peter's? He had the mustache and stuff. He transferred to Bryant,
Yeah.
and then that
So your most confident, biggest upset, guaranteed. Let's choose one and let's see how we do.
okay, Colorado State is my biggest.
Derek's going with Colorado State beating who are they playing? Memphis. 12 beating a 5. That's a big one. And that's your guarantee.
Yep.
Wes, what's your guarantee?
Guarantee. There's not a guarantee. I don't know. I'd say Xavier.
Beating Illinois.
Yeah.
That's very possible. I hate to say it, Derek, but I think Wes is more possible than yours.
Well, but you're saying guaranteed. That's like if I say High Point, that's not guaranteed. I don't even know who High Point is.
High
High
Point
Point
is.
sounds like a dance school, like a bunch of. It sounds like a ballet.
Yeah.
High Point, you know.
Well, I thought you were talking. Okay, well, if I want a real guarantee upset, it's UNC. North
Oh,
Carolina's.
okay.
That's even better,
Yeah.
I think.
I mean, I'm on that same line. And this one, I went back and forth, but then ultimately I decided that I'm going with VCU beating BYU at 11 and 6 as like if you want to get the most out of your money, I think that's your best chance.
Well, isn't it funny that we all picked 11 versus 6?
Yeah, right.
We all picked 11 versus 6.
We did.
Yeah.
That is funny.
And I could see all 11s winning,
Right.
more 11s, because me and Wes were talking about Drake, right?
Right.
So,
Well, I mean, we know that historically you're 5'12, you're 6'11, and you're 7'10. That's where your most change happens.
right.
So I want to get into Final Four here, but 1, 2, 15, 16. Are there any upsets that could happen?
Bryant.
Well, no. What are we talking about? 15-2?
116, 215 of all 8 games between those.
Oh yeah.
Is there what's the most possible? Brian is not beating Michigan State, dude.
You know,
Dude, what's his name? I mean, dude, he's too good. Their guard, you know what I'm talking about. Dude scores like 25 points a game in the Big Ten. Maybe not 25, might be exaggerating, but still, he's really good.
Yeah, they
He
got their
alone will beat Brian.
I think Wolford and Tennessee. I just
Ooh,
that's one where Tennessee.
Wolford in Tennessee.
I yeah. They could if they come out, Wolford just starts draining threes. I mean, they got to be like Steph Curry threes here. Like they just got drained threes, and Tennessee has to play catch up. I mean, I could see that,
Yeah.
but not likely. I mean, Omaha, St. John's. I don't even know anything about Omaha. I didn't. I've never seen them in the tournament. Robert Morris in Alabama. Someone picked that. We're filling out a bracket and for somebody, and they're like, I got Robert Morris, and I was like, okay, well,
Yeah.
they got Mark Sears.
Dude,
And-
look,
and
I have Auburn going deep, but of what we just talked about, I think Alabama State has the best chance.
I'm not gonna say they have the best chance, but you're saying there's a chance. I
Well,
mean,
I'm
they
just
just
saying of
won.
those 15-16s against 1-2s.
That game last night was ridiculous. That pass. I mean, that was they got some momentum. I will say that. And Auburn's been struggling. I think they've lost 3 of the last 4.
Right. And I don't like Michigan State Bryant. I mean, Florida's going to murder Norfolk State. St. John's is going to kill Omaha. Duke's, Mount St. Mary's, come on.
But it'd be funny if Cooper Flag didn't play, right?
Houston
They
against
lost.
Yeah, they lost. Like you got McDonald's, All-Americans all over the floor. Oh, we don't need Cooper Flag against Mount St. Mary's, and they lose.
and they lose. That'd be great.
He's playing. He is playing.
Well, look, I mean, he almost cost them the ACC tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they were still always. I mean, they were already one seed.
I mean, they were in, right, already. And I just don't see a lot of chance for the 15-16s this year as past.
I think a team's got to come out really hot and be like up 20 to 6.
I don't know about this Wolford, Tennessee, though.
Dude, it's Wolford, man. Don't mess with Wolford. They're dangerous.
Okay, so that means so there's our upsets. Talking through some of the mid range, what's happened between 6-11, 7-10. But because the tournament hasn't started yet, we have to give our final 4 and our champion. So if we're right, like we seem like geniuses, right?
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know.
So-
I might seem like it because I did fill up 15 brackets. If I'm not 90% in one of the brackets after 16, there's a problem.
That's just bad luck at that point.
Yeah.
Like you fill out enough brackets, you should be.
No, but I did the last like 10, I did the smart thing, the smart random thing, and it comes out pretty good, and I go back and make changes that I want. And then I submit it.
So now you're using AI. I get it. Well, chances are my tournament winner and Derek's tournament winner is the same.
Yeah, I had a feeling that's gonna happen. I already know who's Derek's. That's
Well, if you know who's Derek's is, you know who's mine is.
Yeah.
I really think Florida has the best chance of winning this tournament. And it's a couple things. They're very deep as a team, right? Doesn't matter who they sub in or sub out, they're not losing a lot at any position. They played tough competition all year, so they're used to long stretches of good games, which is what the tournament's about, right? Can you play 4 or 5 games in a row against top quality competition? But they're so balanced. That's the hard part. With college basketball today, the more balanced you are, the more chance you have to go forward. So I have to take Florida in that sense because they really showed a lot in the SEC tournament. Not only just resiliency, but the ability to play defense and the ability to score points. And so Florida, I can't see them losing. I got them winning. So
And they kind of steamrolled the SEC tournament. It wasn't really like they had any tough games.
well, they had tough games. They just made them look not tough.
Right. They weren't close at the end.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like they played tough opponents.
Yeah.
They made it look easy.
Yeah. I mean, they beat Alabama by 22 and then Tennessee by 9, but it was close. It was farther away than 9.
The game was closer than it looked.
Yeah.
So my guess is you also have Florida winning, Derek.
Yeah.
All right, Wes, what do you got? High Point? Wes is like High Point winning the national championship.
the first bracket that I did was with the pool, and I got Florida going to the championship game against Houston. I have Houston.
Houston winning. Nice.
Never bet on Houston in the tournament,
It
Wes.
doesn't matter. They got to win it one year.
If you keep doing it every year,
No,
eventually you'll win.
I think of course Florida on paper is they are the most impressive team. They they lead the team, they lead the country in offensive rebounding. So they're big. They second chance points. They get to the basket. Um, I just think for once Houston will get lucky, and they'll kind of hold Florida under 65.
I don't
Yeah.
even know if that's happened this year, Wes.
I know.
Well, Houston's not a bad look. There's nothing wrong with Houston, and that's a good pick because at the end of the day, Florida can have good games, bad games,
Yeah,
just
everyone
like any
can.
other team.
I want to take the Marquettes. I want to take the Wisconsins. Michigan is a little scary, I think, just
Michigan
because
is a little scary.
they
I
they,
think
they got
Michigan State
size.
is scarier than
But
Michigan. I think
well,
Michigan State is scarier than Michigan.
everybody they were Michigan State had a great season. I think you saw some deficiency in the tournament. They lost to Wisconsin, and Wisconsin didn't play that well. Wisconsin is my sleeper.
Look, Tanji, dude, that guy's a
Yeah,
beast.
I got them beating Duke. I got them going the Final Four against Houston, and again, Houston getting lucky.
So Westcott, Houston, Derek and I got Florida, but let's move back Final Four because we won't go further back than that. But Final Four is a big thing. So obviously, I have Florida, and then I have Michigan State in the South and the West. So I got Florida, Michigan State, and then East and Midwest, I have Alabama and Houston. So it's two ones, two twos, which doesn't feel that cool. But this is a tournament where I don't think a lot of the lower seeds will go deep.
It feels that way. It feels like six, six and up. That's five and up. I don't think you're going to have a 1-1-1-1, like 4 1s here, but you never know. I mean, it just depends how you get a feel in the first game of the Sweet 16 how it's going to probably go. Um, I got, I do
Yeah,
have
you got
a,
Houston already. So what are your other three?
I got a 1 and 2. I got Houston and Wisconsin. I got a 1 in Florida. I got a 9 in Creighton.
Ooh.
Um,
Wait.
that
How
is
do you got how's Creighton? Oh, Creighton is gonna beat
Auburn.
Auburn?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I just don't. I think Crate poses problems because of Neal. Neal's the
Yeah.
X factor. Last year they didn't have Neal. That guy is explosive. He's their Scottie Pippen. Did you see at the end of the game where he stole the ball and
Yeah.
chose to dunk it, and they got mad at him? And the coach was like, I thought Hurley and that coach were like this. That was awesome though. And I was like, yeah, you shouldn't do that, but that just shows you how explosive. They didn't have that last year, and they still almost went to the Final Four. Then you
Well,
add
dude,
Kalkbrenner, and you got Kalkbrenner and him. I was like, they could pose problems for Auburn.
that's a bracket killer, right? If Creighton beats Alabama, you're talking in the round of 32.
Auburn,
Auburn.
Auburn.
Auburn, I meant. Yeah, Auburn. That's a killer,
Man, I might have to Wes might have convinced me to rethink my.
right? I
It's
mean,
it's not because of Paul Printer and the little white guy that shoots threes. It's Neal. Neal's the athletic guy that really puts pressure on defenses,
wait, so
and he
you
plays
got
great defense.
Florida, Creighton.
Yeah.
What's your East Midwest? Houston,
Wisconsin and Houston.
Wisconsin. So
So we got a one,
Wisconsin,
two, one, and a 9.
Wisconsin has to beat Alabama
Yeah.
and VCU in
Well,
my bracket.
they got to beat West. No, Wisconsin has to. They have to beat probably Duke, and that's going to be tough.
Right. So yeah, Duke beats goes there, and so you got Duke. This is a tough one. So what do you guys think about this? So you got Duke playing either Wisconsin or Alabama. So Wes, you got Wisconsin beating Alabama. Derek, do you have Wisconsin or Alabama?
Alabama. My final four is Auburn, Florida, Alabama, Kentucky.
Oh, so you have Kentucky beating Tennessee and then beating Houston.
Yeah, and then I got Florida playing Kentucky for the championship.
Wow, Florida, Kentucky? Man, I don't know if I can ride the Kentucky wave that deep. I
Well,
mean,
they,
I like Kentucky. I think they'll win some games. I think they lose to Tennessee.
They beaten Tennessee hasn't beaten them this year.
Tennessee, though, it looked strong in the ACC or the SEC tournament, though. So Tennessee gave me a little favor, which is why I picked them there. So Derek, you have all ones and twos, so you have a three in there.
I have a three. Kentucky's a three. So two
Yeah.
ones, two, and a three.
So I
All
have two
SEC.
ones, two twos. Wes has got a nine and a three.
Did I hear a niner in there?
yeah, 9 and 3. So yeah,
Yeah.
9.
Look, dude, if you're gonna pick a nine, you could do a lot worse than Creighton.
Yeah.
Because they shouldn't be a 9.
Right.
I don't know. Wes is making me rethink this.
But
Oh,
like,
there
Make
is.
another
hold on.
bracket.
Let me there. But Auburn's getting a little bit. I think Auburn right now feels a little disrespected.
Yeah.
That's what I'm leery about. If it was all Auburn coming in like, oh yeah, we're the best team in the country, yeah, everyone thinks we are, then I would say they're in trouble. But I think they feel that it's going to be if they match up, you never know. Louisville might win, and this is not even a discussion. You remember
I,
Louisville's the second best team in the
Dude,
ACC.
Louisville could easily beat Creighton.
Yeah, so there's not even
There's no doubt about you could come out of Louisville, Creighton, Louisville 20-point winner.
yeah. Louisville is explosive. It can be explosive.
But I think whoever Louisville or Creighton still gives Auburn a run for their money.
right. I don't understand why Auburn is the de facto number one.
I don't understand.
Did they get the overall number one?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's talk about that. Let's make our arguments for overall number one. So you got Houston, Duke, Florida, and Auburn.
Oh, this is easy. It's Florida. Oh, it's Florida. Florida's playing the best at the right time, and
Momentum matters.
yes, they just won the conference tournament in the best conference, by a lot.
Beat the team to beat Auburn.
And Duke, yeah, Duke, Auburn. I mean, Auburn struggled at the end. I just Houston. They always look like they struggle in spots of the game. They never really dominate. They just play enough defense and make enough plays to win. Yeah, I think it's Florida.
Well, and that's where, like you talked about Auburn, Florida's the one disrespected here. So they beat Auburn. They won the SEC
Yeah.
championship.
Yeah.
So they went through and they beat Tennessee and Alabama in the SEC tournament, and they have to go out west. And Auburn gets to stay in the South region.
It might be that Jamari Broom hype, right? They're trying to hype him up for that number one overall pick.
Well,
Uh,
And I'm pretty
I,
sure
I I can make an
Florida has
argument
a better
for
record
Duke.
too.
I'll make an argument for Duke with Cooper Flag. I would put them very close together. Ultimately, I still would argue Florida should be the number one overall seed. Duke with Cooper Flag's a different team, and they're one of the best teams, if not the best.
Well, and then Florida gets disrespected more because then they put St. John's as the two. So it's like, oh, we're going to give you the hardest two also.
Are they the hardest two?
They're the hottest.
I think Alabama is pretty tough too. Tennessee.
Yeah, Florida's beat both those teams.
Well, Alabama's the most experienced, and they have the core that's been to the Final Four.
That's what I
They
liked
have the
about
experience.
Alabama.
They got Mark Sears, the highest paid college basketball player. I don't know if you guys know that. He got paid $8 million this year. I mean,
I have Alabama in the Final Four, so I believe in them. We'll see how it plays out, but that experience, you can't. There's no substitute for experience. So no matter if you have better players, when you've been there, you were there last year. There's no substitute for that. Alabama will be there again. So that's our Final Fours. That's our championship. That's our first round upsets. There you go. Listen
I think
back.
Steve just made a case for Creighton.
Y'all, that's we might be on the Creighton bus here. Wes, I think you started a Creighton trail and we're all hiking it. All right, so good stuff. We got more March Madness coming. But let's jump into this week's entertainment. So we'll get at that too right back in a second.